everyone. It's Deborah Poneman, founder of Yes to Success, where we share knowledge and tools for you to live your ultimate life. Ageless, anti aging for your brain, your body, and your future, and the Awake Method, because it is time for all of us to wake up. In 1971, when many of you were just a twinkle in your mom and dad's eyes, I left for a 5-month teacher training course to become an instructor of transcendental meditation. I'm not exactly sure how many of us were there on the teacher training course that started out in Majorca, Spain, and later the whole group moved to Fujifonte, Italy, but easily over 1,000. And all of us meditated for those 5 months for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, often in complete silence, and always eating a simple vegetarian diet when we weren't fasting. In fact, we only went out of our rooms in the evenings to hear discourses by the great spiritual master Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Then I came home and I taught meditation full time for many years, frequently going back for 1 or 2 or even 6 months at a time to again meditate for the aforementioned 8, 10, or even 12 hours a day. Although we were very interested in our own personal evolution and, in fact, becoming enlightened through our rigorous spiritual practice, we were also doing it because our teacher, the renowned Master Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, was very clear that we were meditating to create an energy of peace to counteract the lack of peace in the world. I remember that people would accuse me of being selfish, taking all that time just focusing on my own personal development. But then the research came out on what was called the Maharishi effect, where it was scientifically proven that when groups of people gathered in one place, that the peaceful energy that radiated out had an effect on the entire world as we meditated together. One research study showed that when 8,000 of us gathered and meditated together in Washington, D.C. in 1988, crime went down, hospital admissions plummeted, the stock market inexplicably rose, and so much more. And that research has been duplicated not only with the TM program, but with other forms of meditation and with groups not even in the same physical locality. For example, I think you remember me talking about the work of Lynn McTaggart called the Intention Experiment. She found that when individuals around the world gathered at the same time and intended for a shift to happen, indisputable miracles occurred. The Intention Experiment, which was verified at renowned research labs at universities throughout the world, demonstrated that collective intentions can do things like make seeds grow faster, create miraculous healings, even purify water. And the most impressive group intentions that Lynn McTaggart facilitated have been when participants lowered the level of violence in war-torn areas like Kosovo and Afghanistan and the Middle East simply by gathering in their own locality around the world and intentioning at the same time. So no, meditation is not selfish. It's a gift to the world. And I believe that because more and more people are realizing the ripple effect of their spiritual practices, they are more committed to them. I believe every time we meditate, we tip the scales in favor of peace. It reminds me of the story of the great rabbi and Kabbalist, Rabbi Ashlag, and the simple analogy he gave many, many decades ago, I think centuries ago, in fact, to show how each of us has the power to change the world. Rabbi Ashlag asked his students to get a scales of justice, those scales with the two, bowls on either side. And he placed the scales of justice on a table, and he told his students to place on either side of the scale in each bowl an equal amount of sesame seeds. And then Rabbi Ashlag explained to his students that we are at a very precarious time in the history of creation, where there is a great battle going on between good and evil. And then he asked his students if the seeds on one side of the scale represent the pain, the darkness, the suffering, the unhappiness, the lack of humanity in our world, and the more seeds that are put on that side of the scale by acts of anger and lies and name calling and demeaning others and not accepting responsibility and blaming groups of people, the more the scales will tip to an age of destruction. And the seeds on the other side represent the light and the joy and the happiness and the love. And the more seeds we put on that side of the scale by acts of kindness and acceptance and justice and love and uplifting others and caring for the poor and neglected and taking responsibility for our actions and speaking the truth, the more we contribute to the dawning of an age of heaven on earth. So just be clear. In other words, every time you do something that hurts another being or spew anger or tell lies or discredit someone, it puts a seed on the side that will perpetuate an age of darkness. And every time you do an act of kindness, of love, of caring, of generosity, it puts a sesame seed on the side that will bring about heaven on earth, a side of peace and an end to war. If there were absolutely equal amounts on each side, the rabbi asked, how many acts, how many sesame seeds would it take to tip the scales of justice or to tip our planet one way or the other? And of course, the answer is one. You see, too often we believe who we are and what we do is insignificant in the scheme of things. Our gestures of kindness or acts of compassion or the peace we create through our spiritual practices won't make a difference or won't mean anything in the grand scale of things. Yet, according to the Kabbalists, just one action can mean the difference between the destruction of our world and a world that will be filled with light. One seed. And how do you know that the one act of you saying, I was wrong, I accept responsibility for that, or a simple, I apologize, or a simple, you look so beautiful today, isn't the tipping point that will bring about the dawning of a new world? You get it? Never feel helpless again. The fate of the world is in your hands. And I know that we all yearn in our hearts to make a difference. So just know that, yes, it would be good to be phone banking or canvassing for your candidate and the future of our democracy here in the US. But remember that the silence you create by doing your spiritual practices is also vitally important at this time, to create an energy of silence to counteract the noise and to create a ripple effect of peace to radiate out to the world that is plagued by war, overt and covert. And put your sesame seeds in the bowl marked heaven on earth. It's something all of us can do every moment of every day. And you don't even have to knock on any doors. We've got this thing. So much love to you. Namaste.